Hey everyone, today I am excited to show you Chaos Envision, a new rendering tool that's perfect for architectural visualization. In this video, I will walk you through all the essential features of this rendering program. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to create stunning animations just like the one you are seeing on screen. And the best part, you can try it right now. Just download the beta version using the link in the description below. Now let's dive in and start creating this amazing rendering animation. First, let's export our Revit model. Currently we don't have a direct export button to Envision from Revit, but we can export our Revit model as a VR scene from Enscape. Just start Enscape. Click here, Export VR Scene. Select the desired 3D view and export. I will export it without the materials, but keep in mind all the materials we have applied in our CAD software will also be updated in Envision, which is pretty cool. Once the model is exported, we can start Envision and create a new project. Now we have two options to load our project. We can either link or embed. Link allows us to reload our 3D model if we have changed it in our CAD program. The cool part is that all the changes we made in Envision will stay the same. I'm going to use this option. Let's open up our VR scene. Let's talk about the controls first. We can hold down the right mouse button and look around. You need to hold the right mouse button and use WASD to move forward, backward, right or left. To move up or down, you can use Q and E keys, just like in Enscape. However, in Envision, you need to keep the right mouse button pressed while moving around. One more thing to notice is that we can only do this when we are in fly mode. If you want, you can turn on walk mode from the application settings and walk around your project. I will turn it off for now. Now let's look at the interface. On the top left, we have a menu list of settings and other features that we usually see in all kind of programs. Below that, we have these two panels, variations and cameras. You can create different variations to the models here, while in the environment section, we can create environment variations, such as creating a time-lapse video like the one you saw in the intro. In the cameras panel, here you will find all the 3D views you have created or imported from your CAD program. Below that, we have a list of all the objects loaded into Envision. If I select any 3D models, you will be able to see them selected in this list. And of course, you can hide or lock them from here. We have separate tabs for each category as well, which would be very useful if you're looking for specific categories in your project. We also have a separate section just for lighting objects as well. We can select specific variations and camera views from this quick access menu. Here we have the select tool. Next, we have the material selection tool, followed by move, rotate, scale, and snap tool that allows you to place an object on a selected surface. After that, we have this drop-down menu that lets you create some basic 3D models in your scene. Next are the light options. We can create rectangular, disc or sphere lights, which we'll use later in the video. Then we have scatter, anima crowd and spline tools. Here we have the rendering resolution bar showing us the current rendering resolution of this window, which is pretty low right now. If I hover over here, you should see the render size and FPS. You will notice the change here as I increase the slider. Here we have hardware upscaling checked, so only half the resolution is rendered and upscaled, helping you work faster, especially if you have a lower end GPU. For a smoother workflow, choose a minimum of 30 FPS. Here we have the details panel. If I select any object, we should be able to see all its details and other options here. The Environment tab allows you to adjust sun and sky settings. You can load your own HDRI by selecting Sky Type HDRI from this menu and loading one from your computer. Use the intensity slider or rotate the HDRI to your liking. Below that, we have the wind animation checkbox. Now I would like to talk about a notable feature of this program, the ability to undo changes. That's right, you can easily revert any modifications made to your scene by simply pressing the Ctrl+Z, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm undoing all the environment changes that I just made. Now let's take a look at bottom panel by clicking on this little arrow. We'll be moving from left to right. First we have the materials tab where you can find all the materials loaded in this project. Next we have the Chaos Cosmos asset library and the local library where scattered presets are stored. Finally, we have the animation timeline where we can combine and edit all our variations and camera animations. Now that we are familiar with the tools and interface of this program, let's begin working on the rendering. We will start by creating a camera view. To create a new camera view, you just need to click this plus icon in the cameras panel and a new camera view will be created. Let's rename it. Here you will notice these two black bars indicating the area of your screen that will be rendered. Let's adjust the view. In the Details tab, we can adjust the camera position by inputting values. Below that, we have the option to adjust the ratio of your rendering and the field of view options, focal length and view angle. I prefer using view angle. By default, the exposure is currently set to auto. However, you have the option to manually adjust it using the slider provided. Next, we have depth of field settings. And lastly, at the bottom, we have tilt correction or 2-point perspective checkbox that will basically give you straight vertical lines. Here we have color corrections. You can play around with these settings according to your scene to get better results. Make sure to turn on each effect that you would like to use. Perfect. Once you are happy, be sure to lock the camera view by clicking here, so you won't move it accidentally. When the camera is locked and you try to move around, you will get this warning that the camera is locked. If you are wondering how we move around to apply materials and add assets, well, you simply need to switch the camera view from this drop down. Let's select perspective and get closer to the scene. This change won't affect the camera view that we just locked. If I select this view, it will return to its saved position. Now let's return to perspective view and work on the materials. To edit a material, you need to select it using the material selection tool, and this material editor panel will open. You can choose from 6 material types here. Below that, we have the main texture image, which can be replaced from here. And then we have other material parameters. To edit the scale or rotation of the texture, you can click this button over here and make the changes. Randomization helps you prevent visible repetitions of the textures. Triplanar allows applying textures to objects which don't have proper UV mapping. We can load a material from the Chaos Cosmos library as well. Let's select material from this drop-down and search for marble. To use this material, you just need to drag and drop it on the object. To edit a Cosmos material, we first need to click Embed Material. This will give us a warning that the texture won't be managed by Cosmos. Just click yes. I will quickly edit this material. Now let's say we want to apply the same material to other objects, such as these walls. We can easily do that in Envision. First, select the objects on which you want to copy this material. I will select these walls. Now we need to use the material selection tool and pick this material. And here we have this option, apply to selection. Just click on it. And there you have it. As simple as that. Now here, if you notice, we want to apply the same marble material to the face of this wall. Currently, we cannot do it in Envision. So what we can do is create two separate floors. Let's go back to Revit and create two separate floors. Then reload this model in Envision. So I have created two separate floors, one for the carport and the other one I will be applying the marble material to. Let's export this model again from Revit. So I will run Enscape and export the VR scene. As you can see here, we have two different files in the same folder, previous and latest. I suggest you copy both these files to a different folder and name them properly, like revision 1, revision 2, or any other names you want, so you can have them as a backup. Here we have these two files. I can recognize which one was exported first by checking the export time. This is our main file. So we need to use the same file name for the updated model. I'm going to copy this name, right click, rename, and copy. Now I'm going to delete this file because we cannot have two different files with the same name in the same folder. Let's rename this one by pressing the F2 key and pasting the name we just copied. To reload this model, let's scroll all the way up in this objects list. Here we have this main folder. Just select this folder and you will see a reload button here. Click on it and it will reload the file. The cool thing is that whatever changes we made earlier in Envision stay the same. Now I will use the same method and apply the materials to the models, and I will speed up this part just to save your time. So I have applied the materials. Now let's take a look at how to add assets to our scene. It's pretty simple. First, let's filter out 3D models and then vegetation. I'm looking for animated assets, so I will check this box. To load an asset, you just need to drag and drop into your scene like this. It will take a few seconds to download if it's the first time downloading it. Then you can simply place it on any surface. Of course, you can move, rotate, or scale it as you like. And I'm going to delete it. Now let's talk about the scatter tool. We will use it to create realistic grass here. First, select the tool, then the surface, and click done. Let's go to the scatter list in the objects panel here. I'm going to rename it so the models in our project are organized. Let's select this and click on new layer. Here at the bottom, we need to drag and drop the models we want to scatter. Once it's done, let's increase the intensity. Still there aren't many, so we can untick this detect collisions and increase the amount again. There you have it. We have created realistic looking grass here. Now let's scatter the trees. Again, we'll repeat the same process. Select the scatter tool, then select the surface, click done, rename the scatter, click on new layer, drag and drop the models, and increase the density. Oops, we need to reduce the density for the trees compared to what we had for the grass. Let's adjust them in the main camera view. Around 10 instances seem to be working fine. You can randomize the rotation and scale of these scattered trees. To do this, select the model, click on new layer, and then randomization. Here we have parameters to randomize these trees at different scale and rotation. If you want to remove a tree model, you can select it and click remove here. Now I think it's looking perfect. I'm going to go to the top view and add other assets. So I will speed up this part as well. So I have finished adding the assets. Now let's add the lights. Before adding lights to the scene, I will create a new camera view and change the environment to night. Okay, later I realized that these changes were supposed to be made in variations, not in the camera view itself. So we will be doing this again in variations as well. For now, let's work on the lighting. I will lock this camera view as well and change it to perspective. First, we will add a strip light here. Let's select rectangular light from this drop down, and I'm going to select this face, then click and drag to create a rectangle. Don't worry about the size of the rectangle for now. We will adjust it in a moment, but first I will reduce the intensity so that we can clearly see the rectangle. Perfect. Now I'm going to select this rectangle and change its width and length. Let's go to the front view and adjust its placement properly. Perfect. Let's go to the main view and adjust the light intensity. We have the option to change the color of the light as well. I'm going to make it a little warmer. Now that it's done, we can go ahead and add sphere light. I could have added them in Revit, but I just wanted to show you how to add them in Envision. I will create a sphere and move it inside the floor because we only want to show half of it. And adjust the placement. Let's select both of them and press Ctrl plus D to duplicate them. And I will start repeating the same process to create multiple copies. If you feel like these light gizmos are disturbing your workflow, you can always hide them by clicking on the View menu and selecting Toggle Lights Gizmos Visibility, or just press G on the keyboard. Keep in mind, you won't be able to select them if the gizmos are off. So I will press G again to see them because I want to copy them below to the porch. Let's duplicate them and place them here. Here is a quick tip that you might find helpful. When creating night renderings, we can actually create a sphere light to illuminate the interiors. Just like I am doing here, we'll create a sphere and place it behind a solid object such as a wall. And that's it. We've got the interior of this villa illuminated for our night renderings. Moving on to the final section of this video, which is about creating animations in Envision. Firstly, as I said earlier, we were supposed to make the changes to the environment in the variations panel. I mistakenly did it in the camera views before adding the lights. So if I select this first view, we still see the night environment. We need to adjust it to day. Creating animations in Envision is very easy. You just need to open up this bottom panel, select animation, and drag and drop a camera view. Let's increase the video duration by dragging it. As you can see, we have these two keyframes showing up on the timeline. Since we have expanded the camera animation, I'm going to delete this keyframe and right click on this camera view and select go to end of clip. Now I'm going to create a basic animation moving forward towards this villa. You will notice on the timeline a new keyframe has been created automatically. Let's play the video from the start. As you can see, we have got this smooth animation created here. I think I should turn on the wind animation so we can see the trees moving. There you go. It's looking much better. That's how simple it is to create animations in Envision. Of course, you can try to create animations from different angles using the same method. Now let's take a look at how to create a time-lapse animation. To do this, we need to go to the Variations panel, then Environment. We will create two new variations. I'm going to rename them. Now the first one is going to be the same, but the second one should be changed. Let's click on it, go to the sun settings, and I'm just going to change the elevation. Perfect. Once it's done, make sure to click on Save. Now if I select the first variation, we have day environment and the second one has night. Let's drag and drop both variations on the timeline, and this transition will automatically be created between the two environments. I will quickly adjust the duration of these two. Let's play the video and see how it looks. Well, it's looking a bit quick, so I will increase the transition. We need to make the animation also a little longer. Let's move this keyframe to the end and play the video. Now it's looking pretty good. Before exporting it, we would like to add some animated people here. To do this, we will first go to the top view. Let's click on Anima Crowd here, then pick the surface and click on Create Path. We will create a path from here, then click Done. Now if we click on Generate, we will get an automatically generated crowd here. But if you want to use specific actors, you can switch to the Cosmos library and drag and drop actors to this panel. As you can see, currently the actor count is set to 5, so I will load the same number of actors. If the loaded actors are fewer than the set actor count, some actors will be repeated to match the number, which won't look good in the animation. So for this example, I will load 5 actors. Envision provides us with options to edit each asset individually. Let me first remove the variation from the timeline, and I will show you how to adjust this kid's walking speed and starting position. Let's select this kid and you will see these settings appear. First, let's increase the walking speed to 5 meters per second. Notice how he automatically starts running as we increase the speed. To adjust his starting position, we can simply play with the forward or backward offset. There you go. That's how easy it is to create animated people in Envision. Now let's see how we can animate a car. First, let's switch to the top view where I will create a spline. Just click and drag like this. Then click Done. Next, I will load a car asset and place it anywhere on screen. If you notice, we have this Move Along Spline button at the top right. Click it and select the spline we created. There you go. We need to flip the car minus 180 degrees. Now when we play the animation, the car will follow the spline. Let's adjust the speed. To adjust the speed, let's switch to perspective view, select the car and increase the speed here. Perfect. You might have already noticed that the tires aren't animated. That's because this is still in beta. The stable version should have better car animations. And one more thing, this move along spline method works with any object in your scene, doors, windows, or even cameras. For now, I will move both the spline and car closer to the camera, so we only see the moving car in our animation, not the tires. Perfect. Now let's look at how to export renderings and animations. First, let's export the still renders. Go to the variations panel and select the day rendering. Then navigate to render and select render images. Here, choose still image. I will set the resolution to 2160 pixels and select ultra render quality with 64 samples. If you are not in a rush, consider using more samples. Just keep in mind that the more samples you use, the longer it will take to render. However, you will get a higher quality rendering. By default, it will be exported in the same folder where the project file is saved. Let's hit start. Now I will quickly export the night rendering as well. Now let's take a look at how to export the animation. Just go to render again. This time select sequence. I'm going to keep the settings as they are. I will just choose 1080p resolution with ultra rendering quality. 12 samples should work fine for a video. Increase the FPS to 30 and select MP4 as the file format. The location remains the same. Let's start rendering. And that completes our intermediate course on Chaos Envision. This tool is a game changer in the architectural rendering industry. It's super easy to use and you won't even feel like you're learning a new rendering tool. Exciting new features are on the way with the official release. I will be creating videos on Envision and Enscape. If you have followed along until now, thank you so much. Please like this video, and if you are interested in downloading the complete project file and supporting my work, check out my Patreon link in the description. Your support helps me create more videos like this every week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.